Welcome to Empowered, Mind Body Inspiration. The mind is the map to wholeness, wellness, health. The heart is the key to genius and inspiration. Join me and my guests as we explore how to release and rewire into who you truly are, unique, whole, and empowered. Please like, share, and subscribe. Spiral up, spiral out. Welcome, everyone. Today we have Nance McKay, a recovery and resilience expert. She's a lifelong Equus coach who helps women find their voice and build their courage. She is founder of Amazing Outlook Coaching and works with women virtually and with the help of horses to uncover the limiting beliefs that are keeping them stuck in the muck. She has her own weekly show, Women in Alcohol, where she speaks of her own recovery from alcohol and creating a new life after cancer. I think we're in for one inspiring conversation. Let's see how this spirals out. Welcome, Nancy, all the way from Colorado, right?
That's right. Thank you so much, Jayne. It's nice to be here.
Yes. And, I'm so excited to talk to you because we have a mutual love. And I think you being in Colorado is like horse country, right?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if it's as much horse country as where you are or, Kentucky or Virginia or something, but we do have lots of horses in Colorado, and it's, they have captured my heart, and it's not something I grew up with. So this is a reasonably new love for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were just chatting, and we have 8 horses too. And it wasn't something I really grew up with either. So there's a steep learning curve, isn't there? But talk to us about your Equus coaching as well. I'm just so fascinated by that. I've known other people that do it, but I've never talked to someone one-on-one. So let's learn all about that.
Oh, wonderful. Well, the first question I would have for you is, have you ever experienced it?
I have. So we did use a couple of our horses as training ground for someone that wanted to get into that. And it was really fascinating.
Cool. Well, yeah. It is really fascinating. And the thing that is so incredible about it, and I say that it's magic, because that's what it feels like to me. That's what I experienced it, when I participated as a client with Equus coaching, and also it's magic for me to witness what happens with my clients. And so, as you know, horses are so intuitive, and they pick up on our energy. And because they're herd animals, they like to, they want to join up with beings, whether it's other horses or people, whose energy feels authentic. And so if a client goes into the round pen and they indicate that nothing's wrong, everything's fine, and deep down inside, they're worried about their finances or their relationship or their job, then the horse picks up on that incongruency. And as a result, they don't trust that energy. And so they're very hesitant to join up with it. They really kind of want to stay on the other side of the round pen. But as soon as the person in the round pen kind of relaxes into their truth, okay, yeah, because I'm going to ask them, if the horse is over on the other side and they're saying everything's fine, then I'm going to dig a little bit, right? I'm going to know that they're not being completely authentic with themselves. It doesn't matter if they don't want to be truthful with me so much, except that they're paying money to work with me. And so, it behooves them to utilize what they've got going. And so But the horse is a BS detector. They're saying, not so much. I'm not buying it. Are you? And so I know I need to dig a little bit more. And then once they give themselves permission to be authentic, here comes the horse, because now they trust the energy that's coming from that person. And so that's where the magic happens. And then when the horse continues to give them feedback that, yes, you're onto something. This is true for you. The transformation can be just incredible. It's just magic.
Right? It's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain.
What was your experience the first time it happened to you?
So the first time I experienced it, I was in Santa Fe, and, I hadn't been around horses for years probably. And I selected this horse to work with, and she looked at me, and I could feel her look go right down into my soul. I had never felt that before. I mean, it was like, it's kind of indescribable, but it was like, I was struggling with, at the time, it was like, am I good enough? Am I beautiful? Am I, all these feelings of insecurity that I had. And she looked into my soul, and it felt like, you are everything and a bag of chips. I mean, it was just the feeling that I got from that was just, it was transformational. And because of that, then that opened up my curiosity. And so, that was in 2017. And in 2018, I enrolled in life coaching training. And part of that was a workshop, and not part of it, but kind of concurrently the weekend. I digress. But I had 2 instances, 2 weekends in a row, where a horse in Tucson and a horse in California told me the exact same thing. And that was that I needed to be grounded, that I was looking to be grounded. And so those 2 experiences back to back was all it took for me to go, okay, I need to add this to my repertoire. I want to learn how to do this so that I can do it as much as possible. And those 2 weekends were just mind blowing as far as how the connection with the horse, how that made me feel. Because it's what it gives you is validation, and it's validation that isn't somebody saying, oh, you're pretty, or, oh, you're, talented, or, oh, you're enough, right? With the horse doesn't give a crap if you're pretty, right? They connect with you on the heart level.
Wow, Nancy. So that is so incredible. And I feel it every day too, where they look right into your soul and you feel like they see you, in Avatar, they say, I see you. And that's how you feel from a horse.
Right. It's incredible. It's the most amazing feeling. And, one that's not terribly explainable, but
no,
really incredible to feel.
And how did they tell you to ground? How did they express that?
So that was amazing. The first horse in Tucson was a huge draft mare. And I'm 5 foot tall, so I could stand underneath her head. And she was arcing her head over mine, just consistently. And then I sat down in a chair, and I swear to God, if she could have crawled in my lap, she would have done that. She was just so there with me, just so there. And then the second weekend in California, the horse I was working with there did exactly the same thing with arcing her head over mine. It was amazing. And both coaches, two totally different disciplines, both coaches said, the horse is talking to you about grounding. There's this movement indicates to me, and each one of them said that you are either looking to get grounded or you need to feel more grounded. It's just, they're trying to keep you on the earth. And it was like, oh my God, 2 weeks in a row, 2 different horses, 2 different states. Okay, I'm sold.
Right? And grounding sounds so simple, but when we're in our emotions and in our head, we're not connected to our body even, let alone the earth, where you can grounding like allows you to heal in a way, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Because you have to be in your body in order to ground. You have to be aware of the sensations that you're having in your body, and the thoughts that are in your head, and what those thoughts are creating in your body, right? And once you can listen to your body instead of your brain, because our brains will lie to us all day long, then we can really make some transformation, and if we're paying attention to what our body is telling us.
Yeah, we're talking the same language. I tell people that their body is a mirror of what's going on in their mind.
Absolutely.
Like the physical symptoms are a mirror.
Yep.
So they have to be treated in tandem.
Absolutely right.
So how did this lead you into this whole, like you now do a radio show about women and alcohol, and how did that all segue? How did that happen?
Well, I was an alcoholic first.
Right.
I quit drinking in March of 2009 after an attempted suicide, and that came 2 years after my father committed suicide. He was an alcoholic, and so I sort of come by this all very honestly and generationally, and so I quit drinking suddenly, and best decision I've ever made in my life. And so everything was going great after I got sober, got a great job and so on and so forth. And then 6 years in, almost to the day, really, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And fortunately, it was very early stage, not terminal by any stretch, but it kind of gave me a smack upside the head with the 2x4 of mortality. And I really started questioning what I was doing with my life and the work I was doing. While it was with an incredibly good company and I was making great money and so on and so forth, I wasn't happy. And so I knew that I wanted to be doing work that fed my soul. And that sounded pretty silly to some people in my life, but for me, it was everything. And so I really started becoming attracted to life coaching. And I knew some life coaches. I was working with a life coach. And I thought, I think this is what I want to do. This is helping me, and I want to help other people. And so about that time, I was reading a book by Martha Beck that was a work of fiction, her first and only, as far as I know, her only work of fiction. And it felt like she wrote it just especially for me. It just resonated. And I finished that book. I went to see her in a workshop a couple months later, and then I signed up for her coach training. And so through that, I met all these other Martha Beck coaches who were also Equus coaches. And that was the workshop in California that I attended. And that's all it took. I just knew that was something that I had to do. And, my focus is helping women who are caught in that area of their drinking where they want something that lifts them up and doesn't feel demoralizing as far as changing their behavior. And, when I got sober, there weren't too many options for recovery back then. And so I wanted to offer something that was a little different, that, I can use my traditional recovery tools, but I also put a lot of my life coaching tools in with it, and, help women change their lives. Because, when women can learn from their inner wisdom, we have this incredible inner wisdom, right? And when they tap into that, then they find that they don't need to numb out. And so that's what I try to do, and I work with, some of my clients don't have a drinking issue, but everybody has a mindset issue. And so I help them with that.
Right. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like that's, again, tapping into that inner wisdom is just because then you see what your life purpose is. Then you know
Right.
that you have a reason to be here, and you find your service, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So beautiful.
At the risk of being a little woo, I know that my suicide attempt wasn't successful because I was meant to do something different. I was meant to do this work, and my cancer diagnosis was caught early so that I could do this work. And so, I've had plenty of opportunity to die and I haven't. And now I know why. It's because I need to do this work. And, so that feels just so powerful to me, and so important for me to keep going and keep doing this.
Yeah. Often those darkest moments they're like our wake up call,
Absolutely.
to real life, to really why.
Absolutely. And, one of my signature talks is finding purpose in your pain. And that's, if I hadn't gone through those things, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today.
Yeah. So what is the common denominator with someone that's drinking? Is it the need to numb out because they just don't have that connection to what they should be doing? Or
I think so. I think that's probably, I think that's probably why they start in the first place. I mean, I started drinking in high school with all my buddies. So, everybody was doing it. I jumped on the bandwagon, and, but ultimately it was because I wanted people to like me, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. I felt better and could communicate much better when I had a few beers in me. And so it was like, oh, okay, well, before and after, it felt like a good trade-off at the time. And then I started drinking a little bit more as I got older. And for a while, it was still a pretty good trade-off. Everything, I was funny. I was, more comfortable. And then, it starts to go south on you. And, alcohol is an addictive substance. And you may not become addicted, but most people do it to a degree. And even people who, have one drink, they just have one drink every night. Well, if they feel like they have to have that one drink, then there's a problem. If they could take it or leave it, that's one thing. But if they really depend on that drink, even though it may just be one, then that indicates that there's something that they're trying to avoid. And, avoidance or numbing, people don't want to feel angry, or they don't want to feel grief, or they don't want to feel any kind of discomfort, right? Because for some reason, our culture tells us that we should never feel uncomfortable. And that's not serving anybody, right? When we need to learn how to feel discomfort, allow it to flow through us. Feelings last for about 90 seconds if we allow them to flow through us. If we resist them, then they become problems. They become something that we feel like we have to drink over, or eat over, or Netflix over, or gamble away, or whatever it is, right? But we find a tool to help us cope with these emotions that we don't want to face, instead of sitting in the feeling. And it's just, it can be devastating to us, and so I think if we as a culture could learn that feelings won't kill us, if we let them flow through us, then we can come out on the other side of that in much better shape. And I think it's really important for people to understand that discomfort is part of the human experience, and it shouldn't be, swept under the rug like so many people do.
Yeah. And pushed down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it brews, it stays unconscious in our bodies. And it just sits there and festers.
Yeah. Causes all kinds of problems.
When most of it shouldn't even have a real hold on us. And if we looked at it, we would know that it doesn't really have a hold on us.
Exactly.
Then we can see right through it, but it has to come through, right? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And our brain is the one that keeps it active.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so eventually it ends up in physical disease, right? As
I well know. I'm sure that was part of it for me.
Yeah. So what are some of the first steps you teach? You work mostly with women, or?
I do work mostly with women. And I feel like, without sounding too feminist, I feel like women have always gotten the short end of the stick, and so helping women find their voices and their courage is just really important to me. It wasn't until I was, really right about 60 before that kicked in for me. And it's never too late, but boy, if I can start helping women that when they're in their 40s, and start changing their life earlier so that they've got more on the back end to utilize, some happiness and some courage. That's, that would have been a huge difference for me if I had known about life coaching back when I was in my 40s. That would have been, incredibly beneficial.
Right. And just someone to tell you that you're powerful and beautiful and have something amazing to offer.
Exactly.
That's it, right? And to tune in, find out what it is. Yeah.
Right. Because you can read about it and it's helpful, but it's not the same as working with someone. And, it's just life coaching is amazing. And I've gotten so much out of it as a client, and it's changed my life. It really has. And so, when I work with my clients, it's, I just got off the phone with one before we got on here, and it's, if I'm working with a client on their drinking, that's a symptom. And what we need to get to is what's causing the symptom, right? What are the thoughts and the feelings that are making you feel like you have to drink or over it, And so once again, it's that discomfort that we need to learn how to sit with. And I mean, it's been amazing.
Yeah. Do you find often it's programs from childhood,
oh yeah,
a lot of the belief systems?
A lot of it is. And so much of it is culture, and especially like with alcohol right now, everything in our culture tells you to drink, talk about alcohol pushing culture. We're in it. And it's, you can't drive down the street. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but here, without seeing billboard after billboard after billboard and a liquor store on every corner sort of thing, it's like, it's legal drug pushing. And we're made to feel like if we don't drink, then there's something wrong with us. Whereas not drinking alcohol is our natural state. Right. And alcohol is poison. So we're being taught to consume poison in order to have a good time.
Yeah.
A celebration isn't a celebration without champagne.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's so hard for people, is because of the, how am I going to stop drinking when it's all around me? How am I going to, how on earth do I go to Italy and not drink wine? How on earth do I, enjoy the weekend without a few beers or cocktails or something, and it's so prevalent that it's difficult to imagine life without it.
Yeah. And
then when somebody does, when they get there, it's like, oh my God, I don't have to drink anymore. Before it was, I can't imagine my life without it. And now I can't imagine my life with it. It's like, thank God I don't have to do that to myself anymore.
Yeah. It's like returning to your natural state.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Because alcohol, what it does is it creates this barrier between you and your authentic self. You're not going to get there if you're, if you've got mind altering substances in your system, that's all there is to it. You're just not.
Yeah. Plus you're always recovering from.
Exactly. Oh my God. And so I was always in a state of hungoverness. I always felt like crap, Yeah.
So how do you create something magical in your life when you feel like crap all the time?
Exactly. Right? It's really tough. Really, really tough.
So back to horses, you put people in the pen with them, and when they're not looking at the things that are their demons, the horse knows it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so do they even verbalize it to you? Maybe eventually they can, but even if they do it silently and get in touch with that.
if they were to get in there and say, I've got a problem and I need some help, just to themselves or to the horse, boy, the horse would be just right there with them. Yeah. Once they acknowledge it, yeah. But if they are, if they're like in denial, like I don't have that problem, or they won't even allow it to come into their frame of mind while they're in the round pen, I would venture to say that the horse won't join up with them.
Yeah.
And it'll be, a very lackluster,
encounter.
Yeah. I was going to, experience, but it won't even really be an experience because they're not being authentic.
Yeah.
With themselves. Yeah. I don't, like I said, it's not for them to spill their guts to me. I mean, it's helpful if they do, but if they don't, they need to at least be honest with themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where healing starts. And horses know too, if you're not connecting through your heart and.
Oh, yeah. That's just it. Yeah. And you can't fake it. No, you can't fake it because the horse knows. Yeah. So, that's the beautiful thing. They make incredibly good co-facilitators.
Yeah. And you can't connect to your own heart if you're all in your head with all this stuff. Right?
Exactly right.
So that's why they told you to ground.
Yep.
And that was the first step to reconnecting to who your authentic self.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's incredible. Mm. And is that all you do is put them together with a horse? Or is there, I know we did some things with different symbol things and the horse would, pick out something that was very symbolic for the person.
No, I just do, talking and, there's some other exercises that we can do. If I've got a few people, we can do some sort of teamwork type stuff, but generally, what I find is that the person just wants to connect with the horse. And, there's a variety of things that we can do to, make it feel a little bit more active. But really, everybody that I've worked with just wants to connect with the horse. And once that connection is made, they just want to hang out with the horse and pet the horse and talk to the horse and feel the horse connect with them. And so that's what I offer them. And it's, I can throw bells and whistles at it but really that doesn't seem to be what people are looking for. They just want to feel that incredible connection and feel the transformation that happens for them. And for me, that's kind of priceless. It's just, and when I get to witness it, it's like, my heart just explodes.
Yeah. So, every time. Yeah. They're incredible. And I've cried out my stuff in the barn many a time. And they just look at me with those big brown eyes.
Exactly. Like, I had one woman say, I don't want to give all this to the horse because it's not their problem. I can't, I don't want to burden the horse. And I'm like, look at the horse. The horse is 1,200 pounds. The horse is begging you to unload on her, tell her everything that's in your heart and she will love you for it. And by God, she did. And the horse was like, well, thank God, and it was just boom, right with her the whole time. It was magnificent.
Yeah. And it's not like they take it on. It's like they transmute it,
They just help you get rid of it. But they, they don't really understand the spoken word so much. So they let you release what's on your heart, and they, send it out to the universe.
Yeah.
They don't absorb it. Yeah. They just, they help you carry it.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Nancy, how do people get in touch with you or find out more about what you're doing? Just so valuable.
Well, thank you so much. They can visit my website, which is amazingoutlookcoaching.com. And I'd love to get an email from any of your listeners, Nancy@amazingoutlookcoaching.com. And I have I wrote a chapter that was a contribution to a book called Ready to Fly, Volume 3. And I can send you that link. I think it's amazingoutlookcoaching.com/chapter-gift, if memory serves. But I can send you the link for that.
Yeah, so people can go and read that. We'll put both those links in the show notes.
Great.
So they can find that easily and write to you if they feel. I find people, intuitively are attracted to the right things at the right time. So
I agree.
Yeah, someone out there needs this.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom to share?
The only one that really sticks with me, and I think I've mentioned it before, but once we as women especially tap into our inner wisdom, then we don't feel the need to numb out. And I think that's just really an important message for women, especially to understand that, once we find our authentic self, then we really don't need to numb. And more importantly, we don't want to, we want to feel all the feels. So.
Right. And become powerful, beautiful women.
Yep.
That we are the powerhouses of this planet.
We are. We are.
The change makers.
Yep. We really are. I fully believe that.
Yeah. And we have such an ability to tune into what you're saying. And yet we are taught we're not taught how to.
Exactly.
And yeah. So I love your message. Love it.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And, it's really authentic and true, and it just rings.
Oh, thank you so much. That's lovely for you to say. And it's really lovely to hear. So thank you.
And for everyone out there, don't forget, don't give away your power to anyone else. Be the creator of your own life. Spiral up, spiral out.